In American motorsports, the month of May means one thing: Indianapolis, and not just for the NTT IndyCar Series, but for the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires as well. We are here on the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a beautiful Saturday morning as we get set to go racing once again with both USF2000 and Indy Pro 2000, the back end of the triple header. Two races today for both USF2000 and Indy Pro 2000. My name is Rob Howden, the voice of this Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. And today in the pre-show, joined by Yuvan Sundaramurthy from Pabst Racing. Yuvan, obviously you have been a winner here before. You've stood on top of the podium, a couple of victories last year here at the Indy GP. Pretty strong run yesterday. Got yourself back to the podium as well in what was a little bit of a chaotic race.
Yeah, probably one of the most chaotic races I've been in. Didn't have a great start, fell back to, I think, 7th or 8th, and I just kind of knew this track enough to know that stuff would happen. It's a track you can race on. It's not like Barber, so just kind of sat back and kind of hoped for the best.
You pair that, obviously your patience and your experience with the fact that the car was actually pretty darn good. You were the ones to watch midway through the race. You guys started to work forward. Colin Kaminsky had pace. You had strong pace coming up. But talk a little bit about what you saw in front of you. I know you and I talked after the race. You've got enough experience to know that people can get together. Turn 1, 2, 3, a tough complex, 7 as well. You had a couple of teammates get in front of you in turn number 7. You almost called that could potentially happen.
Yeah, I saw those two D-Force cars going next to each other, and I'm like, okay, something's going to happen here, and ended up being right and gained a couple spots off of that. I think I even hit the brakes down the straightaway to kind of get a gap so I didn't get collected with them. But
that's wise.
But yeah, I mean, it was definitely an interesting race, and to get another podium here after a rough start to the year, it was really refreshing.
So obviously after the checkered flag, you would end up finishing 3rd, Braden Eves with the victory, and Salvador de Alba coming home in 2nd on the racetrack. Post-race inspection found an issue with the car of Braden Eves, so he was excluded from the results. That moved Salvador de Alba from J. Howard Driver Development up to P1 in the Indy Pro 2000 category. You've been moving up into 2nd. And for you as a rookie driver here in Indy Pro 2000, how important was it to get back up on that podium again, get back to where you need to be?
Oh, I mean, it's everything. A lot of these series are fully about confidence, so being able to know that I have the ability to do that, and I think I could have easily won the race. I mean, I was trying to working with on Salvador there for the last couple laps, and really just couldn't get close enough till the last one, and then was side by side down the front straight, so one more lap probably could have had it, but
strategy coming into the weekend obviously was interesting with the set number of tires that they have for use over the triple header. Rain was in the forecast, pretty aggressive, about 80% for all of today here on Saturday. It's pushed off to almost 2 o'clock, so it looks like we're going to have 2 dry races for both USF 2000 and Indy Pro 2000. Of course, this is the pre-show for USF 2000. We'll have driver introductions and the command to fire coming up shortly. Drivers actually just starting to leave the paddock now where we're located here just inside of turn 1, 2, and 3. Let's look a little bit at USF 2000. Jagger Jones is going to start on the front row. Jagger's been very strong, as we know. He won the race at Barber Motorsports Park, was in a big fight with Billy Fraser for 2nd place at the end of the race yesterday, actually getting that 2nd spot after Fraser and he had contact. Billy getting a penalty, moving him back a spot. But the driver to watch, and I'll get your input on this, Alex Quinn, the Englishman coming over to run with Velocity Racing Development. What a debut for him. He's able to win in his maiden race in USF 2000. How hard is that, even to be able to win? You know the series. You ran 3 years in USF 2000. The level of competition in that category is staggering right now, and for him to come in and do that, what was your impression on that?
Yeah, that was definitely something to behold. I mean, I was standing with a bunch of other drivers of Indy Pro while we were watching the qualifying session for USF, and we were like, wow, who is this kid?
Right.
We hadn't heard of him from England before. Now I know that apparently he's a pretty good racer back there in Europe. But to be able to say, oh, who is this guy, is kind of like the ideal point in your racing career. You're like, oh, there we go. I've put myself out there.
You're here to make a statement, right?
And he very well definitely made a statement. 1 start, 1 win. So that's pretty impressive.
I had said the question was, who is Alex Quinn? And now the answer obviously is a USF 2000 race winner. Last year running in the Formula Regional European Championship with Arden Motorsports, finished 9th overall in that category. But great to have him here with a new kind of collaboration between Velocity Racing Development, Dan Mitchell, and the good folks over at Arden Motorsport. I don't know how much we're going to see Alex Quinn this year, but he'll start from the outside of the front row for race number 2 here this morning. Again, just before the noon hour, we'll get going again. We have a couple of races that will wrap up anywhere between about 10:45 and 12:05, the back end of the triple header. Let's come back to you. You're getting ready to go racing here once again. Did you have a mindset of potentially coming rain racing today, or were you thinking, yeah, we're going to stay dry?
I think I was maybe a little bit for the second race. Was kind of looking at the forecast. Looks like it's pushed back now, but I mean, I think we were the fastest car out there. We had one lap in clear air, and even that was not really clear air, and already second fastest car out there, or third fastest car. So I think if we get some clean air, kind of make a better start today and stay out of trouble, I think we have a chance of a 1-2.
Well, that's one of the things you have to watch out for here, of course, folks, at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The road course leads into a very tough 1-2-3 complex. Big, long straightaway down into turn number 1. Hard braking, but you can go 4 and 5 wide, which makes things interesting. And then you got to funnel back down into that position into turn number 1. What is the mindset going into the corner there? You and Kaminsky both very quick. We know Jordan missing behind you, not that far behind. The Paps cars have been good. What is the mindset going into turn 1 for the first time?
You really can't go in with the mindset. I mean, everything changes every time. I mean, you could see from our race, Braden Eves and Salvador de Alba went from, I think, 10th and 12th to 3rd and 4th off the start. Miles Rowe in the USF race went from 8th to 2nd. So anything really happens, it's kind of pick a lane and hope for the best and hope someone else doesn't run into you.
One thing we talked about here as well, the long straightaways here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course allow for a lot of drafting. I know in USF2000, you can attest to this from last year, significant draft. You don't get as much of that aero wash with losing the air off the front wing. How is it for Indy Pro 2000? Is there a major tow here as well? I
mean, there definitely is. I think a big issue that I had in qualifying was they never really got a good tow lap. Okay. So I think a lot of the guys who got that one fast lap in qualifying had a pretty decent tow. So it definitely does something, but especially through turn 4, high speed, long duration corner, air wash gets pretty bad. That was the main reason I wasn't able to get past Salvador there. So he did a good job defending too in the last lap, which kind of sealed the deal. But yeah, there's definitely some air wash. Definitely USF has a lot less, so this coming up race is going to be really interesting to watch. One of the common themes, of course, running with the IndyCar Series as we do at all of our events is the track changes so much over the weekend. IndyCar, of course, getting out, doing all their sessions, putting a lot of rubber down. Indy Lights had a session yesterday afternoon. The final race of the day, so they put a ton of rubber down. How do you expect that's going to change the racetrack, and do you think you guys are going to be faster? Were you able to make the car better from yesterday? I think so. I think turn 4 was our biggest struggle, and turn 4 finally gripped up a little bit. So I think even today with a little bit more grip, although seems pretty humid right now, so exactly. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, about 77% humidity trackside right now here at Indianapolis. 4 races for you here on Road to Indy TV. 2, of course, for USF2000 and 2 for Indy Pro 2000 as well. We've talked throughout this weekend about how crucial this actual event is, a triple header for both series. So that allows guys to get a lot of momentum going to the Oval in 2 weeks, the Freedom 75 and the Freedom 90. Yuvan Sundarmurthy will be racing today. He'll be, of course, there at Indianapolis Raceway Park for the Carb Night Classic. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're about 10 minutes away from driver introduction. Stay with us. Lots more to come here on Road to Indy TV.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduro Maxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
It's your Uncle Cooper. If you and your truck are constantly tackling the regular duties of the day, go with a tire that can handle them all. Oh, man. I stepped in it. Go with the Coopers.
What's up, guys? It's Lindsay Brewer here at IMS. I'm super excited. I've driven this track once in an F4, so I know a little bit about it, but it's definitely going to be a lot more fun in the Indy Pro 2000 car.
I'm Trey Burke, drive the number 63 USF2000. Joe Dueling Autosports Curb Agajanian, here with Sage Karam.
What's up?
Little known IndyCar driver. He's been here a time or two.
Quite easily knock up the tire here, so you gotta watch for that.
I did that.
It's the best passing zone on the track, obviously, because of the long straight. So getting out of the last section for this straightaway is important.
Hey guys, I'm here on the track walk at IMS. It was a great track for me last year. Had 2 wins and a podium, so really looking forward to kind of getting the season back running. It's a beautiful track, beautiful facility, so really looking forward to getting driving.
And make sure to download Road to Indy TV app. Check out all the fun.
One of the most exciting additions to the Cooper Tires USF2000 paddock this year is a legendary name in motorsports, and that is Jones. And of course, talk right now to Jagger Jones here, the grandson, of course, the icon Parnelli Jones. But you're here to make a name for yourself, correct? Talk a little bit about getting into this program, how it's been so far.
Well, it's been great. The whole USF2000 series, it's been so welcoming for me. I've been racing some stock car stuff, grew up racing go-karts, but last few years been racing oval stuff. So this has been a little bit of a transition, but so far it's been going pretty well. And I love IndyCar racing. This is a great series. Cooper Tires Road to Indy has created such a great ladder system, and that's really one of the reasons that drew me here. And I'm really looking forward to this whole year and this new adventure, really.
One of the things that makes it so exciting of having Jagger here is, like he said, a different approach to coming into the program. He was a champion karter when he was younger, but instead of following the footsteps of so many drivers into open wheel racing, you went stock car racing. You went super late model racing. You ran in the ARCA Menards West Series as well. How much different is that? What was the transition like coming from the big, heavy stock cars to a Formula car?
Well, basically everything that I've learned from that stuff, out the window. It's basically it's like learning how to walk completely over. And I think like the transition has been going pretty well. I've grown up racing different things. I've done some off-road stuff. I've gotten to drive some road course stuff a little bit here and there. So I definitely have a little more well-rounded background than you see most people just stay in one type of category. So I think that's kind of played into some of my strengths of kind of relearning everything. But you see someone like Jimmy Johnson coming from stock car racing, having to relearn everything. It's not easy because the whole braking, the cars are less than half the amount weight-wise as the stock car stuff I was racing. So it's basically relearning everything, but so far so well. Yesterday, little learning experience on the whole racing. These drivers are really aggressive, and they're short races. I'm used to a little bit longer races, so that's a different thing.
Every race is obviously going to be new for him, a new racetrack to learn. We'll talk later about maybe one track you're looking forward to, but you are going to get a chance to kind of, to a certain extent, go back to a comfort zone when we get on the oval at the Indianapolis Raceway Park. You're looking forward to the Freedom 75?
Yeah, I mean, I've never driven something too similar to this on an oval, but obviously oval racing is something I've done a lot, so maybe that'll pay a little bit into strengths, but still, it's going to be a learning curve as well. The whole aero is so different in these cars than it is on a stock car on an oval, but really looking forward to that.
The Jones surname, of course, very connected to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as well. Jagger, you're getting a chance to drive there, race there. You were quickest, actually, last year at the Chris Griffiths test there. How excited are you to get to IMS in May?
Yeah, the Chris Griffiths test last year was probably, I think it was my third time in the car, and it went really well. We led basically the whole weekend. So really looking forward to getting back there. It's a super fun track, and just the history of that place. When you walk in, you get the chills. No matter who you are, if you're a Jones like myself or just anyone, getting to drive across the bricks was super cool, and I'm really looking forward to racing there this year.
Tons of talent, of course, here in USF2000 this year. If you want a driver to root for throughout the entire season, try Jagger Jones.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper and Duramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like...
USF2000 drivers rolling down the pit lane here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to start what should be an exciting morning for the drivers here in the opening rung of this Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. All of them chasing a scholarship worth over $350,000 to make the move up into the Indy Pro 2000 category. 23 drivers total set to go here today. As these drivers roll in, we will get ready to do the driver introductions. A big field and a number of drivers making their first starts at USF2000. Why not do it at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? One driver qualifying on Friday and only running one race this weekend, wanting to keep his rookie status with a set number of races here before doing a full campaign next year. We'll talk about him a little later. But the rest of the drivers working their way in. Let's have a look at the grid right there on the screen now. The number 7 of Yoru Lee, rookie driver, starting in the 23rd position for Jay Howard Driver Development. Moving into row number 11, his teammate Jorge Garcias from Mexico in the number 9 will start 22nd alongside Frankie Mossman in the number 6. A young driver making his debut as well. Top Carter here in North America. Mossman for Jay Howard Driver Development starting in 21st. Moving to row 10 on the outside, just 14 years of age, Danny Dzelski had to wait to start the season because he just wasn't 14 yet. That's the minimum age, so the number 8 for J. Howard Driver Development starting today in 20th. Inside of that row, another young driver that comes up through the karting ranks here in the United States, Chase Gardner out of Texas, talented driver with great pace in qualifying. He'll be in the 19th position, was in the top 10 yesterday before getting taken out by contact. Gardner in the number 13 for D-Force Racing starting in 19th spot. Row number 9 from New Zealand, Jacob Douglas for Exclusive Autosport in the number 90, starting in the 18th position. And on the inside for Joe Dooling Autosport and Curb Agajanian, Trey Burke in the number 63 will start in 17th. Working our way up now to row number 8 on the outside. From Avon, Indiana, Jackson Lee for Cape Motorsports in that number 2 machine starting in 16th. And on the inside from Sweden for Velocity Racing Development, a driver I think we should watch here now. Could work his way up into the top 10. Victor Anderson, the rookie in the 30, starting in the 15th spot. Moving to row number 7 on the outside, it's Nicky Hayes, a talented young American driver making his debut here in the Road to Indy this year with Cape Motorsports. He'll start in the 14th spot in the number 5. And on the inside of row number 7, Dylan Christie for D-Force Racing in the number 11 will start in 13th. We'll go now to row number 6, 11th and 12th. These drivers both from Turn 3 Motorsports, the team owned by Peter Dempsey. If you're an Indy Lights fan, you remember that 4-wide finish where Dempsey came out of turn number 4 and beat everybody to the line to score the Freedom 100 victory. Turn 3 Motorsports for Peter Dempsey will have Spike Kohlbecker from St. Louis on the inside in the number 33, and the Illinois driver Christian Weir on the outside in the number 32. Both those drivers with an opportunity to go to the podium here today. Let's go to row number 5 now, starting just inside the top 10 driver who worked his way from 10th up into 3rd yesterday. Joined me in the PA booth as well from New Zealand, Billy Fraser in the Exclusive Autosport number 92 Corpay machine. He will start in the 10th position alongside his young teammate. This is the driver I talked about before, only running 1 race this particular weekend. He'll do 1 race on 3 weekends through the season to be able to keep his rookie status for next year. That's Joey Brienza in the number 91. Very impressive pace out of Joey Brienza, who is running in the FRP F1600 Championship for a second season this year. Up now into row number 4 on the outside will be Simon Sykes for Legacy Autosport. He has tasted victory here at Indianapolis before at the SCCA National Championship runoffs. He'll start in the 8th position alongside driver who came into the weekend as the point leader. 2 wins on the season, but an incident yesterday took him out early. Miles Rowe for Pabst Racing in the number 22, set to launch from P7. Up now to row number 3, Bajoy Garg had issues early and fell back. He will start in the number 12 machine for D-Force Racing in 6th. And on the inside of that row, a driver with a win already this year on the streets of St. Petersburg, Jace Denmark from Phoenix, Arizona in the 23, starting in 5th. We'll go to row number 2, and a young Canadian and a young American, both drivers back for another season here. Thomas Naveau, a winner last year at Road America for D-Force Racing in the number 10, starting 4th. And on the inside of the row, the driver who is currently in the 4th spot in points, he and Miles Rowe getting together yesterday. Last year's series runner-up, Michael D. Orlando from Hartsdale, New York, in the number 4, starting 3rd for Cape Motorsports. 23 drivers in total getting set to go green. From the outside of the front row, the driver that Michael Young and I just talked about from England for Velocity Racing Development, Alex Quinn. Unbelievably impressive yesterday, jetting away to a race victory. And as the engines fire down on pit lane, the driver starting on the pole. 1 win already at Barber Motorsports Park. He comes in as the point leader over Billy Fraser by 7 points, a name that is well known here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Jagger Jones, grandson of Parnelli and son of PJ, starting from the pole position today in the Cape Motorsports number 3. It'll be Jones and Quinn on row 1, D. Orlando and Naveau on row 2, Denmark and Garg row 3. Row 4 will see Rowe alongside Sykes, Brienza and Fraser on row number 5, Kohlbecker and Weir row 6, Christie and Hayes row 7, Anderson and Lee row number 9, Burke and Douglas row 10, Gardner, Dzelski, Mossman, Garcias, and Lee to cap off the 23 drivers as they pull off pit lane. And indeed, Michael Young talking to Jagger yesterday, he knows the history of the Jones name here. but as any young driver should, focused on what he's doing, the story he's trying to tell, his career, which I think is exciting.
Enough time has passed since his father raced here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and was involved in racing that this introduction to him in this USF2000 series, a rekindling of sorts of the Jones name, but obviously that legacy, his grandfather winning in 1963 here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway,
right.
It's always around, but he has a great opportunity. It's not thrust into the limelight. With this Road to Indy ladder, he will be able to create his own legacy, potentially winning in each rung of this Road to Indy ladder, and that in and of itself will create his own history here at the Speedway and throughout open wheel racing.
And the great thing about Jagger is he has a unique story to tell. Came out of karting, was a champion karter, but instead of jumping right into an open wheel car, he elected to go stock car racing, did a bunch of late model stock car racing on the West Coast, and that's helped him on restarts. It's helped them on just to be able to handle high horsepower, a much different race car, but still the stresses, whatever it may be. 19 years of age with an opportunity to go after a championship this year. Regardless, he is focused on winning races. We asked him about this yesterday. Hey, you're running third, you're in a battle for Fraser, you're in the points championship. You know that Rowe and D'Orlando got together. Were you thinking championship? And he says, I never think about the championship. I think about race wins, and if I do that, the championship will take care of itself.
It's a long season, and indeed, as you said, and as Jagger had said, you can't think about championships this early in the season because you could end up at the back as far as maybe even 20th as a result. It still doesn't throw your championship hopes away.
You can always dig your way back. Obviously, with race wins, if you dominate a race with fast lap of the race and the most laps led, all these bonus points lock up, and you never know what happens. Hey, Christian Rasmussen back in USF2000 won the first 7 races of the year and then actually fell on his face here in Indianapolis and then at Mid-Ohio. It got down to 3 points. He was able to win the championship, but you never know what will happen.
So the field makes their way around this 2.439-mile road course here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 14 turns make up this road course as the field starts to make their way through the south end of the track, and they make their way down the front straightaway. About to go green, race number 2 for the USF2000 series.
2x2, 23 drivers set to go. Jagger Jones on the inside, Alex Quinn on the outside. Time to go racing with USF2000. Green, green, green. Racing down into turn number 1. They'll all dive down to the wall on the inside, blocking that inside move. You want to cover down the bottom. Good run there as well for Alex Quinn. Here's a pop out for D'Orlando. He's going to try the high side, outside the run. Couple drivers locking up on the inside. I think D'Orlando's going to come away with a spot. Indeed, he does. D'Orlando able to go around the outside of Alex Quinn, so make it a Cape 1-2 out of 2 and 3. Jagger Jones leads, but look at this 2x2 through turns 3 and 4. Michael, this is when you hold your breath.
Indeed, Jagger Jones with a great start, though. And for Micro D'Orlando, Alex Quinn was tucked behind Jagger Jones and thought he was going to pop out, but D'Orlando took advantage of the draft and was able to get himself in that second position. Field makes her way down Holman Boulevard to turn number 7.
Had some great races at Barber Motorsports Park going green to checker. We weren't able to do that yesterday. Drivers maybe a little cleaner here on the opening circuit, but Michael and I talked about the fact that you have to take care of your equipment in this opening race. These drivers right back at it. They'll be on the track once again at around 11 o'clock, so they really have to make sure that they don't have their crews working on machinery for the next couple of hours. Opening lap looking pretty good so far with a couple of teammates up front. They did this at Barber Motorsports Park as well. Jagger Jones and Michael D'Orlando. Good to have a teammate around you. Alex Quinn trying to back up his victory from yesterday. Otherwise, everyone's settling back in and getting this opening lap done. And once they do, Michael, we'll be able to go single file, and we'll see how the battles form from there.
Yeah, indeed. Yesterday was a disjointed race number 1, but race number 2 clean so far. The 10 and the 23, Naveau and Denmark racing down that front straightaway. That is the battle for the 4th position, and that ensues into turn number 1.
Here's Naveau going to the outside. Big lock up there for Jace Denmark, and he's going to have to take the cutoff. He went too hard in there, almost got into the back of Alex Quinn and Thomas Naveau. Lucky enough to do that, but when you do take the cutoff, Michael, about 4 or 5 positions is what you're going to lose. You're not going to lose a ton, but that 4 and 5 for not being able to get through 1, 2, and 3.
I don't know if he even lost 1. He got through there extremely quick. Here's the replay of that entrance into turn number 1.
Yeah, watch this big lockup. It'll be the right front, I believe, locking up. Yeah, they're hardcore, right front. Almost takes out both of those drivers. But split-second decision-making for Jace. Do I try to make this corner? Do I come back in? Being told we are going full course yellow, so obviously wasn't that particular incident, but we may have an issue on the racetrack. The number 7 of Yeoru Lee, and it looks like coming onto the front straightaway here. There's Yeoru off the racetrack in full course yellow with Jagger Jones as the leader right now. Jones leads, D'Orlando second, Quinn in third indeed, Yeoru Lee in the number 7, the driver off coming through the final corner of the racetrack. Yeah, that's the setup for the final corner. And he is off track. Let's bring in our driver analyst. We talked to him yesterday. He's one of our USF Juniors drivers. USF Juniors, a development series using the Ligier race car that will get drivers ready to go for USF2000. Elliot Cox from Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing. Great to have you with us back here again. First and foremost, what do you think of that opening lap?
It looked really clean to me. Other than what caused the full course caution, it looked way better than anything that happened yesterday in this race. Already everybody looks a lot more patient and a lot more ready to do some racing instead of what happened yesterday.
Yeah, here's the thing, you know, Elliot, we had a couple of races for you for USF Juniors. Doubleheader at Ozarks, doubleheader at Barber Motorsports Park. Are you more comfortable in the second race of a weekend? You know, I know you come into the first race, you really want to get things done. Is there just more of a relaxed nature maybe to race number 2?
The first race is definitely, it's a lot more stressful. You don't know really quite what your pace is yet, but when you come into the second race, you've already been through one. You know what your pace sort of is. You know what you need to gun for, and it's definitely more relaxed. You don't have the nerves coming into the race, and then just knowing that the pace that you have as well, it helps.
Yeah, you have that baseline, right? You know exactly how quick you can go. Ideally, you've made the car quicker into the second day. Michael, I think we saw that there, a much more relaxed opening lap. Drivers giving each other a lot of room.
I think everybody is aware of the other drivers' style, especially at this Indianapolis Motor Speedway. They know what they can expect and what these drivers are going to do, where they will attack at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Again, Elliot Cox joins us. He is our driver analyst. I know you have a suite up here. You've been enjoying all the amenities of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but I talked to you briefly yesterday. Sometimes driving a golf cart doesn't lend itself to someone your age.
I was taking a few people from our suite around. They wanted a tour, and then I dropped them off in the pits so they could. I'm not old enough to go in there yet, but I dropped them off at the pits, and on my way back to the suite, I got pulled over, and they told me, "How old are you?" And I said, "I'm 14." And they said, "Well, you're going to have to call somebody to come pick you up because you're not allowed to drive this."
Oh, that's great.
We let him go 140 miles an hour in a USF Juniors race car, but he's not allowed to drive the golf cart around the Indianapolis
just some rules that we can't break. Just some rules we cannot break.
So here's a little learning experience for you. When somebody asks you how old you are, you say you're 16. Because I'm not lying.
Oh, that's great. I never forget Sage Karam when he qualified for the Indianapolis 500. He was standing on the pit wall taking a picture because he missed his prom, so he's taking a photo back. And, of course, the yellow shirts have to keep order down on pit lane. They're like, "Young man, you need to get off that lane." He's like, "I just qualified." "Nope, sorry, you got to get off." It was classic. But, yeah, we appreciate our yellow shirts. They do such a fantastic job out here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, we'll come to Elliot Cox throughout the race here. He'll join us for this opening race of the day for USF2000, and we'll be back as well for Indy Pro 2000 in the afternoon. We look forward to potentially having Bianca Bustamante with us, another one of our USF Juniors drivers, also a driver of the W Series as well. Had a chance to make her debut in that program down at the Miami Grand Prix just a week ago. So let's reset the grid here. Jagger Jones up front. He got a great start, holding on to the position. His teammate Michael D'Orlando coming around the outside of Alex Quinn in turn number 1 on the green flag. So D'Orlando goes to second, Alex Quinn third, Miles Rowe up into the 4th spot, Thomas Naveau in 5th, Billy Fraser 6th, Jace Denmark able to come back into 7th, so actually didn't lose a position. You're right, that's staggering to me. Normally you lose at least 3 spots having to go through the cut-through. Simon Sykes in the 8th spot, Bajoy Garg in 9th, and Christian Weir in 10th.
Nice job by Miles Rowe. He's already up 3 positions. Billy Fraser up, he podium finisher yesterday, up 4 positions. So making some strides here in the opening couple of corners of this Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. 15-lap event today, and we are getting Lee removed from that turn 14 area, and hopefully we'll get back to green very soon.
You know, you mentioned Billy Fraser jumping up, started 10th yesterday, just so much full of confidence after what happened. Made a fantastic pass over in turn 7, 8, 9 at Barber Motorsports Park, got an over-under on Simon Sykes, probably passed the weekend to go to second there. Had some trouble in race number 2 at Barber, but came back here, second year in the series. There's just a level of confidence for Billy right now, and just a more comfort with his team, more comfort being here in the U.S. You know, we talked a little bit about it yesterday. Here's a kid from New Zealand, came over all by himself to the U.S. to race last year. This year, Dad came over with him at the start of the season. They're literally going around the circuit in a 28-foot trailer, pulling it behind the truck and staying at the track, staying at campgrounds, near racetracks, whatever it may be. Just a really unique story for Billy Fraser, and it's all paying off. This kid definitely a championship contender on the podium again yesterday.
Potentially seeing more of the United States than we'll ever see. I mean, that's a good way to do it, to get out and good family time, good bonding time, and we welcome him to the United States and wish him all the best in the remainder of this race. A great run yesterday. Gets a little bit better in qualifying. Certainly a contender for some wins.
Well, and again, it's like we said, maximizing those Cooper tires in qualifying. But at a track like this, maybe not even that. I talked to Yuvan Sundaramurthy in the pre-show that we had here on Road to Indy TV, and it was just not able to get that particular toe, right? So in qualifying, you want to have open racetrack, but if you just happen to get that little toe coming down the straightaway on your flyer lap, it could help, and he just did not get that. And that's how tight it is. It's not like we're talking that he was 2 seconds back. He was 0.4 of a second back, qualified 4th instead of qualifying up top. But Jagger Jones a 1:25.4 fast lap. Billy Fraser 1:26.1, so 6 or 7/10 of a second that particular session. The second fastest lap of the qualifying session is what set the grid for race number 2 today. But again, drivers, single file restart, get themselves going, and I expect we'll go green momentarily.
Yeah, we saw Yoru Lee's vehicle being, the car being towed back out of turn number 14. Had a little bit of issue trying to get that hooked up and out of the way so we can go back to green flag racing. We will await the field to make their way through the north end of the track down Holman Boulevard, and we expect to see green this time by.
Jones, D'Orlando, Quinn, Rowe, Naveau, Fraser, Denmark, Sykes, Garg, and Weir, the top 10. Jagger Jones comes into this second race as the point leader by 7 markers over Billy Fraser. Miles Rowe a further 5 points in arrears. Michael D'Orlando 3 back from him. There's a Yoru Lee coming in here still, so it took a bit of time to get Yoru handled. Hopefully we'll go back to green when they roll back around here. But again, Jagger Jones with that point lead has the momentum right now. There is an opportunity, of course, to score another podium, maybe another race win. This season starting to shape up, Michael. Normally we see rookies kind of come on midway through the season. Jagger Jones out of the gate pretty strong.
Well, yesterday we saw drivers in the championship hunt making mistakes, which obviously will not kill the championship hopes, but that certainly shuffled things into today, so that allowed Jagger Jones to put himself in a much better position in this championship hunt for 2022. Field makes their way out of the final portion of the track, just now making their way into turns number 12, 13, and 14. As they make their way through the final 3 turns, we will expect to see a restart. The USF2000 series, the first rung of this Road to Indy ladder. The future stars of open wheel racing making their way, and we see Jagger Jones getting a good jump thus far. Field back up to speed as they make their way down the front straightaway, expecting green this time by.
Jones hard back into the throttle. Green flag flying here at start finish. The Cape Motorsports drivers dialing right in. Let's see if D'Orlando goes for it. Indeed he does. Tucks back. Big draft down into turn number 1. Restart. You're almost a sitting duck from P1. And indeed, D'Orlando's going to go around the outside. Book it. He's through to take the lead. D'Orlando goes to P1. Jones slotting back into second, and another driver's off. That is the number 10. That's Thomas Naveau, who has gone off in turn number 1, but he has been able to continue. So Naveau refires and continues back, but a tough one for the driver who's 8th place in points right now, as he's going to tumble to the tail of the field. We'll try to find out what happened to Thomas Naveau. He was running P5 going into turn 1 there to start on that restart, Michael.
Alex Quinn and Miles Rowe were battling for that 3rd position. Naveau were tucked in right behind him. Don't know if he just locked it up, but that's unfortunate because he was running 5th and now will fall to the back of the field.
Scrap through that middle part of the racetrack, that 7, 8, 9, 10 complex. Here's the replay here as they're coming down. Keep an eye back on the number 10. He's kind of trying to get away from the 22 a row a little bit. Oh, they went 3 wide into the corner. Yeah, that just wasn't going to happen. 3 wide in the corner. I believe Denmark kind of was on the inside there, Rowe in the middle, and Nouveau on the outside. He's turning in thinking he's got lots of room, and Rowe's in the middle with nowhere to go because he's got somebody else on the inside of him. That's just an unfortunate racing incident as people stack things down into what is a very narrow entry into turn 1.
Alex Quinn had cleared that battle, so that is why we saw the Nouveau machine drop to the back of the field. But it's Michael D'Orlando who will lead the field down as we complete lap number 6 of 15.
Michael D'Orlando winless on the season so far, runner-up in the USF2000 championship last season. So you can be sure. Oh, there's a deep move for Simon Sykes as he goes to the inside of Christian Weir. Deep move into 1, and Sykes trying to get himself back up here. Started 8th, has now got back to 8th. He fell a couple of spots. Not a good opening lap after the restart for Simon Sykes. You can see a bunch of those J. Howard driver development cars scrapping further back. Jorge Garcias, Danny Nazelski, and Frankie Mossman scrapping it out there for 19th, 20th, and 21st. K Motorsports teammates taking care of each other so far, Michael. D'Orlando and Jones. Jones kind of running that blocker right in the back a bit there, as kind of being the wingman for D'Orlando here early in the run. And that's, remember, we're 7 laps into 15 laps. The number of yellow laps, we got 3 full yellow flag laps, but we're only to the halfway point here. There's lots of racing still to come. This is where that patience has to come back into play.
Now we'll see if Nouveau can work his way back to the field. I think I saw him making a couple of moves trying to work his way back, and obviously not an opportunity to get back in the top 10, but we shall see. We'll hopefully keep our fingers crossed and see no chaos up front, but it's Michael D'Orlando with a 2-car length advantage over Jagger Jones. Field makes her way down that front straightaway. Then Alex Quinn, Miles Rowe, Billy Frazier, they round out your top 5 as the field makes her way to 1.
Let's come back a bit here to Elliot Cox and ask a little bit about mid-race strategy. Elliot, you're mid-race, you're getting settled back in again. You know, you got your P2. What is the strategy then? Are you going to work potentially on trying to learn more about the guy in front of you?
Normally, for me, if I'm sitting P2 mid-race, I'm just trying my best to catch up to him and pass him. But definitely while you're behind him, you can try your best to learn about their driving style, where you can capitalize on where they're making mistakes even, and just try to figure out where you can pass them if you catch up to them, and then pray that you do.
That's it. You got to catch them to get them first. But again, strategy, Michael, you're trying to find out where you're faster. You're watching their race lines. You know, are they having a particular trouble maybe in one corner? Is there a lockup here and there? You have to go and think about doing the research. Where potentially am I quicker, especially on this particular racetrack?
And I think the difference between yesterday and today is we have a lot of green flag racing. Yesterday it was just restarts, get them when you can. Well, today you can actually see where there are weaknesses in the driver in front of you, and if you have to defend with somebody behind you. But right now, Michael D'Orlando with a pretty nice lead over Jagger Jones. Alex Quinn right there in that 3rd position. Then Miles Rowe, Billy Frazier rounding out the top 5. Field makes her way off of turn 14, but it looks like Alex Quinn may have a run on Jagger Jones.
Yeah, here comes the draft down the straightaway. Let's see if Quinn gets enough to be able to make a move by D'Orlando as they come down into turn number 1. D'Orlando not running any kind of defensive line. In fact, all the drivers running the big race line right up against the wall to give you the best turn in through turn number 1, 2, and 3. One driver in the pit lane right now, the 32 of Christian Weir for turn 3 Motorsport. We talked about the contact between he and Simon Sykes, wondering whether or not that potentially was terminal for Weir. Luckily, he'll be able to come back and do it all over again later here this morning when our 3rd race of the triple header comes in. Christian Weir entering the day 7th in points. How far back? Just 1 point behind Simon Sykes. The 2 guys that got together were battling for 6th and 7th in the championship points as well. Otherwise, D'Orlando, 0.6 of a second last time by. One driver to watch for has moved his way up is Chase Gardner, the driver from Texas, as I had talked about, running in the number 13. Prosper, Texas, the hometown for Chase Gardner. A little bit of F4 experience, a lot of karting experience as well. And there's a shot there of Christian Weir. They're going to work on the right front, so some suspension damage likely for Weir. Not sure whether or not they'll get him back out on track. But Chase Gardner, who started back in the 19th position, has worked his way up into 11th now on the racetrack. Up 8 positions since the start and up 6 since that lap 6 restart. I'll tell you, here's a guy that's running one weekend this year, Chase Gardner. I think they're testing the waters ahead of what will be likely a full season next year. He'll test throughout the season to prepare for 2023. But when you come to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, qualify like he has, and then show racecraft, this is the thing that team owners like to see. Chase Gardner's the guy they're going to be watching. As a driver has gone off, we have another driver who's overcooked it.
Might have been Chase Denmark.
And you will remember, if Denmark locked those brakes up, it doesn't take much to lock a tire up again.
So we talk about these drivers with these one-offs setting up for a rookie campaign. Want to make sure that they only run those 4 races. They don't want to do too many races so they lose that rookie status. What racetracks do they go to after Indianapolis? Where do they run throughout the season?
In terms of our series itself, or testing, our series itself, obviously, in 2 weeks, we're at Lucas Oil Raceway, which is back to being called Indianapolis Raceway Park. We'll all battle going back and forth on that, but back to IRP. From there, we head to Road America, which is always a favorite of all of our drivers. We got Mid-Ohio coming up as well. We got Toronto. We're going back to Toronto, which should be super exciting. And the finale for this year actually will take us back out to the West Coast. We're going to Portland International Raceway. That'll be the finale for Indy Pro 2000 and USF2000. We'll have our banquet there, but lots of racing still to get done. And for a driver like Chase Gardner, Joey Brand's doing the same thing, Frankie Mossman, hey, if you're going to do a couple of one-offs, get a chance. The month of May in Indianapolis is where you want to be.
So Miles Rowe and Billy Fraser, the best battlers. Fraser all tucked up underneath the rear wing of Miles Rowe. That battle ensues down into turn number 1. We'll see if indeed he can get a run and take over that 4th position. They're side by side.
Here comes Fraser to the inside. Book it. He'll take the spot and able to cover up on the X as well. Billy Fraser now up into the 4th position. What a run it's been so far for Billy Fraser. Unbelievably impressive, starting 10th in the opening race, fought his way up into 2nd. A penalty dropped him down to 3rd for contact, but he's done it again, worked his way up to P4. A strong run to the inside of turn number 1, a textbook pass, Michael, here at Indianapolis. The draft, make the move to the inside, and then make sure there's no over-under. Break enough, cover off that over-under on the exit of 1.
That was in about 2 laps in the making. You can see him setting up Miles Rowe the last 2 times by, and just got that great run down this front straightaway, tucked up underneath that rear wing, able to get that slipstream going, popped out in a textbook pass, as you said.
Yeah, and up into P4 for Billy Fraser in the exclusive Autosport Corpe number 92. The Kiwi driver showing so well here this year. Consistency throughout the start of the season. Podium as well at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. A podium at Barber, and again a podium here already here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So he's getting the job done, but again, the guys up front are the ones who are really dominating so far. D'Orlando, Jones, and Quinn. 1, 2, 3. Michael D'Orlando trying to break the goose egg on the year and get that victory. But here comes his teammate, Jagger Jones, looking down to the bottom of the racetrack. Oh, side by side. They are going at it, and Alex Quinn, a very interested spectator, P3.
I was watching Michael D'Orlando. I saw his head turn left and right, trying to see where his teammate Jagger Jones was going to go. Left the door open briefly for a moment, but able to hold on to that lead position. But as you said, Alex Quinn just sitting there. He's like, okay, boys, you can dice it up if you want, but I'll take over the lead if you two make contact.
It's interesting. We talked to a couple of drivers yesterday that saw races happening in front of them and kind of backed, almost checked up a little bit in turn number 7. Even Sooner Murthy said he watched the 2 drivers from D-Force Racing, Nolan Siegel and Kiko Porto. They were going at each other, and he said, I literally checked up a bit into 7 to make sure I'd have an ability to make the move. They get together on the exit of 7. He slides through and gets 2 free spots. That's what Quinn's doing right now. He's kind of getting a feel for this. He's got the draft down the straightaway. He's wondering what these guys are doing up front, but he's got to watch out because look how close Billy Fraser and Miles Rowe are closing up here right now. Top 5 drivers separated by less than 2.5 seconds. It's probably even tighter now.
This time by, there will be 3 to go, and you can see Jagger Jones, Alex Quinn starting to set their sights for that lead, taking it away or trying to take it away from Michael D'Orlando. They make their way down the front straightaway, 3 to go.
Big draft again for Jagger Jones in that number 3, but a little more breathing room, I think, for D'Orlando this time. Look at this, deep on the brakes. They got together. Contact, and they've got together. The leaders have hit. Jagger Jones locked the brakes up, got into the back of D'Orlando, who's now going to have to take the cutoff. He spun all the way around. You saw the big draft. We are going to have a look at the replay when it comes, but Jagger Jones just so deep into the brakes. Look at him on the draft here. Big toe into the braking zone, moves the car a bit to the right, then comes back to the left and just can't get it wound up. Drives right into the back, nose onto the gearbox, around he goes, and Alex Quinn gets the Christmas present. Down to the apex of one. He goes to the lead. Billy Fraser trying to attack as well. Let's see if Fraser is able to get by. But I'll tell you, as the leader, again, we saw teammates do it yesterday, and again today. That's just a little error there for the rookie Jagger Jones.
That was all on Jagger Jones as we see Michael D'Orlando trying to make his way back through the field. But yeah, Jagger Jones was completely out of control once he locked him up. There was no way he was going to keep from hitting his teammate Michael D'Orlando. And unfortunately, Michael had to run into the runoff area, so he loses a couple of positions as he spun and turned them.
Yeah, and then so you spin and lose positions, and then you got to go back to the cutoff. That was a double whammy for Michael D'Orlando, losing a ton. And this is late in this race as well. Quinn's across the line. We'll press the reset button. New leader Alex Quinn, who is P3, looking to go back-to-back here. Here comes a move for second. Billy Fraser. Oh, and let's make it 3 wide into turn number 1. Miles Rowe thinking about it as well, but he'll go on through. Billy Fraser to second. Miles Rowe to third. And there is Jagger Jones back into the 4th spot. This is a fight. Just bring Jace Denmark back up here as well, and Denmark gets around. I wonder if there's some potential wing damage, front wing damage for Jagger Jones, because he lost a couple of spots there through 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, that contact might have messed up that front wing. He clearly has lost some type of downforce on the front of that car, unable to really make it work and make it stick. Clearly some understeer, I would imagine, for that car as we see him locking him up into turn number 7. But what a move for Alex Quinn. As you said, it was that Christmas present. Then you see Fraser making the move, Miles Rowe, and we still have a lap to go. We'll see the white flag this time by.
Michael D'Orlando falling back to 7th position after the contact. Spun in turn number 1, had to go take the escape route to get back onto the racetrack. Probably lost a couple more positions there. So a potential victory going by the wayside for the driver coming into this race 4th in points. Jagger Jones, Billy Fraser, they were 1st and 2nd. Right now, Fraser, who's gone to P2, looking to potentially work his way forward here now. Looks like I have a driver potentially having some trouble over in turn number 7. That's the Joe Dueling car of Trey Burke off in turn number 7. White flag flying this time by. Quinn the leader. Fraser with some gap on Miles Rowe. Rowe back up into 3rd after the incident yesterday. Again, a driver struggling to get the budget to continue the season. Trying to get back on the podium here. Jace Denmark 4th. Bajoy Garg 5th. And who's falling down the order? Jagger Jones falling down the order. He's in the pit lane. So both drivers involved in that incident going to fall to the tail of the field, and both those drivers in the top 4 in points. Jones was the point leader coming in.
Certainly not going to hurt their race 3 potential. Not a lot of damage, but boy, certainly a big dagger into this race number 2, and potential points gone to the wayside.
And it didn't look like Alex Quinn was going to be enough to get the win today, as the Cape drivers were 1-2, but he gets the gift, as we said. He leads in the final circuit here for USF2000. Look at the gap that he has. Fraser trying to hold off Miles Rowe here as well, as it's Quinn, Fraser, Rowe, Denmark, and Garg. Final time through turn number 12 for the British driver Alex Quinn.
Alex Quinn, welcome to the United States of America. And the Indianapolis Motor Speedway had race number 1 win yesterday, and looks like he is going to win race number 2, going away from the rest of the field.
Out onto the front straightaway, and again across the yard of bricks. Back-to-back jacks for Alex Quinn as he wins the 2nd race. The USF2000 Grand Prix of Indianapolis, brought to you by Cooper Tires, and what a victory. And that's back-to-back for Velocity Racing Development as well. They get their first Road to Indy victory yesterday, Dan Mitchell's squad, and they'll do it again here today. Quinn, 2 wins. Billy Fraser back on the podium in 2nd. Miles Rowe 3rd. Jace Denmark in 4th. Michael D'Orlando on those last couple of laps, elbows up for sure, fights his way back into 5th. Spike Kohlbecker in 6th, Bajoy Garg 7th, Nikki Hayes 8th, Simon Sykes in 9th, and Chase Gardner all the way from deep in the field. He gets himself from 19th up into 10th. That's a great run for the young Texan.
And we will see race number 3 just a little bit after noon today. It's a very, very busy race morning. Been a lot of fun thus far, and wow, what a great run by Alex Quinn. That time wasn't race strategy, it was patience that got him the race victory.
Yeah, he had to really work hard to be able to get the victory yesterday, make some passes and pull away, but I'm telling you, the excitement that we had in this one, unbelievably thrilling, ups, downs, highs, lows, and unofficially, as they come into the end of this race, Billy Fraser will take over the point lead from Miles Rowe. 117 points for Billy Fraser, 112 for Rowe, 108 for Jones, and 105 for D. Orlando. Unofficial, of course, but just 12 points separating, Michael, the top four.
Well, we will do some celebrating. Rob Howden will make his way over to the victory podium, and we will salute Alex Quinn, Billy Fraser, and Mr. Miles Rowe, as they are our top three finishers in the USF2000 race number 2. It is race day, and we welcome you, race fans, to the racing capital of the world. Again, our thanks to Elliot Cox for joining us, our race strategist today, able to come in and share his thoughts. We appreciate you. Best of luck with the remainder of 2022 for you, and hopefully we'll see you down the road here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Thank you for having me. It was a blast.
There you go. Rob, thank you as always, and we'll see you here at Indy Pro 2000, getting set for their second race as well. Again, race day. I'm Michael Young along with Greg Rakestraw. You are welcome and happy to have you here. It's the racing capital of the world. More to come at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Open up the champagne, pop. It's my house, come on, turn it up. Hear a knock on the door and the night begins. Cause we've done this before, so you come on in.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper and Duramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper.
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
The race to win is on with the Green Means Go promotion from Mountain Dew, an official sponsor of the Indianapolis 500. Just grab your favorite dew, text Green Means Go to 99888 and enter for your chance to score one of 500 Indianapolis 500 prizes. Mountain Dew, the official sponsor of the Indianapolis 500. See official rules at DoGreenMeansGo.com. Let's do a little celebrating on the victory podium here with the voice of the road to Indy, Mr. Rob Howden. Rob?
To present him with his trophy for Miles Rowe, coming home in the third spot, Chris Pantani from Cooper Tires. And again, Miles Rowe for Pabst Racing, finishing in the third position in the second race of USF2000 here on this weekend in Indianapolis. Driver has worked his way up into the P1 position here. Another solid drive from deep in the field. Started in 10th spot. Back up onto the podium once again for Exclusive Autosport from New Zealand. P2, Billy Fraser. Fraser in second. And to present Billy with his second place trophy, the CEO of Anderson Promotions, Mr. Dan Anderson. 117 points for Billy Fraser, taking the point lead. Consistency on the weekend so far. 2 podiums for Billy Fraser. Yesterday, drove his way to the race win. Today, got a little bit lucky, but was there where he needed to be. Another victory for Velocity Racing Development, and the winner today, Alex Quinn. Alex, yesterday, you drove to the race win, obviously. You got it done. Today, you were kind of biding your time, and I was wondering if you were kind of back there saying, I'm waiting for these two guys to get together. Was that a thought?
Yeah, I mean, I had my engineer down on the radio, and he was sort of counting me down the laps. I could see them getting closer and closer, and I was like, something's going to happen here. And I didn't know what, but I was waiting, ready to pounce, and fortunately, something did happen, and I pounced through, but it might have been close in the last few laps anyway.
Obviously, a victory yesterday, very big for you, but another one here today. This weekend just going your way.
Yeah, I got the pressure now to make it free for free, so got to get the job done now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hop up on top there. Alex Quinn from Velocity Racing Development will bring Chris Pantani back out with another trophy. Alex coming over from England. This program came together just about a week ago for him to come to be part of this event with Velocity Racing Development and their new collaboration with Arden Motorsports, a top racing program over in the UK. And to get Alex to come here to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, obviously no expectation of what he was able to do, not having tested our USF2000 Tatis car, but he has excelled on both the Tatis car and these Cooper tires and gets another victory here. 2 wins, back-to-back jacks for Alex Quinn. But again, the seasoned work being done by Billy Fraser has moved him to P1 in the championship standings. Miles Rowe back into second, an incident yesterday, but he fights back to the podium as well. It's been a great season so far for Miles Rowe, and here's our young driver right now that is doing whatever he can to continue his aspirations of running the entire season. Does not have the full budget right now, but they are doing the best they can to try to get him from race to race to make sure that Miles still has an opportunity to race for this championship. Nonetheless, a tremendous drive for Alex Quinn. Was biding his time back there in third, watching the 2 Cape drivers, Jagger Jones and Michael D. Orlando, swap the lead out front. and eventually the contact between Jones and D'Orlando, taking both those drivers out in turn number 1 and passing the lead over to Alex Quinn, the Velocity Racing Development driver. 2 wins on the weekend so far, and like he said, pressure mounting to potentially go 3 for 3 to sweep the weekend. Champagne, of course, get ready to come in here. They'll celebrate as they do. They won't want to be spraying themselves. They're going to be back in the race car in about maybe 2 hours' time, so I don't expect them to hose each other down. Otherwise, time to enjoy ourselves here in Victory Lane, the traditional champagne spray. More racing to come. Indy Pro 2000, less than 20 minutes away from going green as well.
And our thank you to Rob Howden. We'll see if the gentlemen do spray the bubbly. Indeed, they will not. They have one more race to go, Greg, and they'll spray it on the fans down low and the teammates just below us at Victory Podium. What a great race. Race number 2. Congratulations to our top 3 finishers. Miles Rowan 3rd, Billy Fraser 2nd, and Alex Quinn, his 2nd race win of this race weekend, the USF2000 series, where they will have another race.
Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper and Duramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper.
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
It's your Uncle Cooper. If you and your truck are constantly tackling the regular duties of the day, go with a tire that can handle them all. Oh, man. I stepped in it. Go with the Coopers. It's your Uncle
time to go racing. The Indy Pro 2000 drivers making their way out on the grid, and we have Rob Howden, the voice of this Road to Indy program, joining us. What a thriller yesterday. We had to hold our breath for an incident that happened earlier in the race, but the driver that was involved in that will actually start from the pole today.
Yeah, that's the exciting thing that's happening here today. Jack William Miller, again, an Indianapolis resident, had some issues yesterday, ended up in the kitty litter on the outside of turn number 2, a hard impact. But based on the pace that he had in qualifying, he will start on the pole position, leading all those drivers out onto the grid right now. And let's have a look as we're less than 5 minutes away from the command to fire these engines, and the drivers will work their way down. 16 in total coming on to the pit lane for the second of 3 races in this Indy Pro 2000 category, the second rung of the Road to Indy. Drivers from here graduating up into the Indy Lights program, and then, again, if all goes well, into the NTT IndyCar Series. Let's have a look at the field. 16 in total getting set to go, starting in the 16th spot in the number 83. 58 years young Charles Finelli will start in the 16th spot. Inside 15th, a great run to 8th place yesterday with very quick laps. Lindsay Brewer, the young lady out of San Diego, California, by way of Colorado. In the number 93 Mastermind Machine for Exclusive Autosport, Lindsay having a great debut. She'll start 15th today. Row number 7 will have Salvador de Alba, yesterday's winner, able to take advantage of a lot of the chaos, worked his way forward, second on the racetrack ahead of a post-race DQ. He scores his first victory and will start deep in the field, though, today. 14th for the J. Howard driver, development driver, the Mexican, in the number 6. Inside of that row, winner from earlier in the year of the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, Josh Green out of Mount Kisco, New York, in the number 3 machine, Green, running for Turn 3 Motorsports, the rookie, starting in 13th. Row number 6 will have Wyatt Prokachik on the outside in the number 5 for J. Howard driver development. And on the inside, starting in 11th from Illinois, Jordan Missig in the number 19 for Pabst Racing. Working your way into the top 10, drivers started on the pole position yesterday, but had an issue, contact with Louis Foster coming out of turn 2. That is Jonathan Brown, the young Irishman, starting in 10th for turn 3 Motorsports. Found pace in qualifying. We'll see how far he can move forward in the number 2. He'll start alongside Anam Ahmed, driver from London, England, flying the Pakistan flag in the number 47 for Juncos Hollinger Racing. Look for Ahmed, a former British Formula 3 champion, to go forward into the top 5 and potentially onto the podium. Row number 4 will have Colin Kaminsky for Pabst Racing. A lot of speed in the Pabst Racing machines. Kaminsky started on the front row yesterday, and this time will start on the outside of row number 4. Inside of that row, the driver who scored the win yesterday but had an issue in the tech barn, Braden Eads for J. Howard driver development, the former USF2000 champion, in the number 4, starting in the 7th position. We'll go to row number 6, driver who started the day off with me in the Road to Indy studio with our pre-show, Yuvan Sundaramurthy, starting in the third row outside, P6, very comfortable in the car, feels very confident coming into today. He'll start alongside Kiko Porto, your reigning USF2000 champion. On row number 2, number 55 out of Miami, Florida, Reese Gold for Juncos Hollinger Racing, starting in the 4th spot. And on the inside of that row, Nolan Siegel in the number 8, 2-time winner this year already for D-Force Racing, starting 3rd. 16 drivers in the field, 2 on the front row. We'll have Louis Foster on the outside for Exclusive Autosport in that number 90 machine, and on the inside, we talked about it, for Miller Vinatieri Motorsports with Exclusive Autosport. A new technical alliance has both their drivers on the front row. Jack William Miller in the number 40, starting on the pole. Time to get things underway, folks, and joining us here on the Victory Lane podium to present the command to fire the engines, the CEO of Advanced Ready Mix Concrete. The CEO of Advanced Ready Mix Concrete, it's Camilla Schroeder, to give us the call to fire.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
And with that, engines coming to life down on pit lane. Thank you so much, Camilla, as we are ready to go here now. Indy Pro 2000 and Jack William Miller on the pole position. You think about it, Michael, what happened yesterday with Jack? Nowhere to go when that incident happened in front of him, ends up climbing over his teammate Louis Foster, pounds it into the gravel, almost going over. Put that behind you. You got to go racing here today.
It's amazing. Technology, in-car cameras. Just had an opportunity to see the in-car for Jack William Miller what a ride that he had. But as you said, you put all of that behind you now, and I'm sure in his head, what could have been, I'm ready for race number 2 today, and I'm on the pole. So you redeem yourself, something that you couldn't avoid. Let's go out and get a win.
That's exactly it. And this is the second rung of the road to Indy. They've gone through karting days. They've gone through USF2000. You've been in these kind of situations that develop you, that hone you, that make you ready for a challenge like this. This is the home race for him as well. This is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He lives up in Carmel, I believe, in Indiana here. And so this is that race that you want to do well at. He's been on the podium here before, and this new technical alliance with Exclusive Autosport, last year's team champions, has paid off extremely well for him. Both he and Louis Foster great out of the gate this weekend.
You talk about that alliance and the change. We knew the talent was there, and sometimes it's just that technical thing to get you to that next step that you potentially need.
He needs to win. To be honest, he needs to have that victory. He needs to get that monkey off his back as yet to score a win in Road to Indy competition. He wants to win, wants it to happen here at Indianapolis. But as we know, this is one of the most competitive fields we've had in Indy Pro 2000, likely the entire program since we launched it back as Pro Mazda back in 2013. So many tremendously talented drivers, an international field for sure. We've got race winners and champions coming up from USF 2000. This is the cream of the crop midway through the Road to Indy ladder.
So for the race fans just joining us, we had a USF 2000 race already. Pretty clean with the exception of some teammates taking each other out. We have another race for USF 2000 coming up before noon. We have a second race for the Indy Pro 2000 drivers. Expecting clean racing here, fingers crossed?
Well, same thing we said at the start of USF 2000, right? Maybe you're going to think a little better of it trying to make a move, because if you make a major wreck, you may not get back into the race in race number 3. It does take some time to repair these cars if there's significant damage, so you'd rather be able to roll it back into the paddock, make a couple adjustments, and be able to go right back out for race number 3.
So the field makes their way through the south end now, exiting turn number 10 through turn number 11, and we will see the formation on the rows of 2. There will be a total of 8 rows that make up this field for the Indy Pro 2000 GP of Indianapolis. Race number 2, we see the pace car making its way towards pit lane, and the field now will make their way through turn number 13, and then the right-hander of turn number 14 making their way to the front straightaway. Jack William Miller will bring the field down, expecting green, and the start of the race this time by.
Miller on the inside, Foster on the outside, Siegel and Gold on road number 2, ready to fire things up. Green, green, green. And they will rocket their way down. Foster not tucking back in. He wants to go around the outside. The two teammates for Exclusive Autosport working their way down into turn number 1. There is Reese Gold looking to the outside as well. Dive bomb down to the inside as well for Nolan Siegel. Little brake lock up. And there's 3 drivers having to take the escape route. And we got damage for the front wing of one of the J. Howard driver development cars. He's gone off in turn number 2. And contact, as we said, that'll be the number 18 who's gone around there in turn number 2. That's Jordan Missig actually in the 19. Missig's lost the front wing off the Pabst Racing entry. He'll try to get that car refired. I don't see suspension damage. They'll work their way down the back straightaway. Big move to the inside. Foster coming down to the bottom of the racetrack side by side. They have contact. Contact between Foster and Miller into turn number 7. Miller goes around. Foster able to continue. So drivers stricken in both turns 2 and turn 7. Looks like Anam Ahmed involved as well. Chaos on the opening lap.
We were hoping for some patience as the caution flies, but not one, 2 incidents. One happening in turn number 2, and then the other happening down in turn number 7. Our pole sitter, Jack William Miller, gets turned around by Louis Foster. And of course, the incident down there with the number 19 as well. A full course caution. The 19 will remain. You see parts sitting there on the track. We see a rear wing from someone as well, and here's the contact down into turn 7.
Yeah, this is Foster going to the bottom of the racetrack, and Miller not wanting to give him any room. Might have been an aggressive move for Foster down the bottom as well. I don't know that he had the pass totally done. Hard to get it from that angle, right? That's that straight angle. You're not sure exactly how far they are side by side. They've refired the car of Jordan Missig, but he will he's going to get stuck in that grass. It's it's a little damp. You don't have a lot of grip out there.
I think the safety crew was wanting to push him out of there, and as he rolled forward, I think he might have found himself further into the grass and
that's Braden
covering
Eves.
it out. Yeah, Braden Eves with no front wing.
So again, Braden Eves winning on the racetrack yesterday, but an issue. Here's the start right now, and we'll see what happens with Eves.
Well, make sense out of this.
Yeah, the gaggle that goes into turn number 1. Little lockup for Miller. He's through. That looked to me like it was, I think Kiko Porto might have went too deep into the corner and pushed through. Let's bring in Elliot Cox again. Elliot get a chance to see that. Elliot, what's your thoughts on going into turn 1 there?
Turn 1 just looked like some tight racing. You know, you're all going in 3 wide, 4 wide. You got to pay attention to both sides. Maybe you missed the braking point a little bit, got a little sideways, and stuff happens like that into turn 1.
Here's the car of Anam Ahmed, I believe, coming in. No rear wing there, so contact for Ahmed as well. So a number of drivers stricken with incidents there. Now, listen, as a driver, Elliot Cox, and again, those of you who maybe weren't with us for USF2000, Elliot, one of our drivers in the USF Juniors program running with Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing. It's your responsibility to get into that corner, but you've got to be able to make the corner. We saw Kiko Porto get in, lock it up, and really just come back through the entire field of drivers.
Right. I think if it wasn't turn 1, he probably would have taken the overshoot into the cutoff. But considering he had 3 other drivers on the outside, it's just a mistake that he made, and he really couldn't avoid the other drivers, because when you lock the front wheels, you're just going to go straight. You can't really do a whole lot about it.
So again, the issue we saw there, a pretty crazy start to get things underway.
Now we see Anam Ahmed on pit lane, a flat left rear tire for Anam, so the crew going to work on that car now. And as we see the cleanup happening out in turn number 1, Rob Howden, not what we wanted for a start for this Indy Pro 2000 race number 2, as these drivers came to the green flag and then made their way down into turn number 1. We had all kinds of chaos, and then the leaders taking each other, well, not taking each other out. Jack William Miller taken out, and a great move by Louis Foster, but maybe a little too aggressive at the start of this race.
Yeah, Elliot Cox joining us here from Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing in the USF Juniors program. Elliot, what do you think about that? Foster, of course, the issues yesterday, right? Kind of got maybe a little less patience. What did you think about the contact in turn 7?
Going into that, it's first lap, but you got to remember you have a long 35-lap race ahead of you. I think both of them could have probably done a little bit better to give each other more room. First lap of the race, maybe try to live to fight another day. I've had some problems with that in the winter series, but you know, it's something you got to learn. I still have to learn it, and it's just a learning curve for everybody. But it's racing. Nobody wanted to give. You're fighting for the lead, and stuff happens.
Wise words, only 14 years of age though, right?
Well, talk about those demons. You get them in your head, you have an opportunity, and obviously you're having a big run down into turn number 7, potentially an opportunity to lock them up. It's not that easy to say, hey, let's be a little patient here and live to fight another day.
Right, yeah. When the position for first place is open going into a hard braking zone like 7, you might just want to go for it, and sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. In that case, it didn't turn out very well for either driver, and it kind of is what it is.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is you think it's up to the guys who have fallen down a bit. Louis Foster, Michael, with that contact goes down to P5. Eves had contact early. He goes down to 14th. Ahmed, another driver we expected to potentially run for a top 5 or a podium. He's 15th. This has moved a lot of guys up the order. Nolan Siegel taking full advantage. Point leader coming in. He's gone from P3 as now your leader, so this is going to allow him to potentially stretch the championship, but there's still a long way to go, as we know. Colin Kaminsky, 8th position. He and I talked. We did a Q&A at the Cooper Tire Stage, and he said Artem Petrov won here last year from 9th. I can do it from 8th. I can make it happen. With the chaos that's happened, he's found himself in second more than one occasion yesterday, and he's back there again today. 8th up to 2nd, and again, De Alba, who started 14th, is somehow 6th on the order right now. It's been luck for Salvador De Alba.
It's almost like we put all of the card numbers and shuffled them in a cup and threw them back out like we were playing Yahtzee, and that's where they end up.
It's crazy to think what happens on these opening laps, and you know you had the stresses of yesterday, and so many drivers not able to get the finish. We saw it again, of course, in USF 2000 as well. Miles Rowe and Michael D'Orlando getting together, coming back and running really well today. Had it not been for the contact with Jagger Jones, Michael D'Orlando may have got a win. But for Louis Foster, who had the lead. Contact takes him out yesterday. Man, you would have wished for just a little more patience with he and his teammate coming down into 7. They may have been able to pull away. But hey, you know what? Like Elliott said, the opening was there. He's going down the bottom, just didn't quite get all the way in.
From what we have seen thus far, it doesn't look like too significant of damage to the cars involved with both of the incidents down in turns 1 and 2 and then down in turn 7. Again, we have to remind race fans, these drivers have another race coming up yet later on today, just after noon. So they have another race. USF2000 drivers have another race before noon. All of that in between IndyCar practice and Indy Lights session as well. It's lots going on here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Indeed. Let's have a look at this. One of the interesting things about the contact we saw in turn number 7 between the leaders, neither of those drivers is out. The full course yellow came out. They're still on the lead lap. Jack William Miller with, as we know, a very fast race car. He's going to be starting in the 12th position. Louis Foster, P5. There's still an opportunity to come to the front. We have lots of racing still to do, 21 laps, and let's be real, cautions breed cautions, so we're going to have another run through 1, 2, 3, and 4.
So for Jack William Miller, what is your mindset now? Hey, I got taken out, not of my own doing yesterday. Then today, I'm on the pole. I'm leading down into turn number 7. I got a dive bob moon by the guy behind me, Louis Foster. Now I've fallen back to the 12th position. How do you recover from something like that mentally as a driver, Elliott Cox?
Mentally, if you get taken out from the lead, you're never going to like it. It's one of those situations you'll probably be fighting the red mist again.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to reset. You have a long caution just because of the incidents that happened on the first lap. Try to reset, keep your head back down, get back in the race, and try to be smart at working your way back up.
Hey, listen, it's a long way to go still. I'm sure they're on the radio calming him down. You know, Jack Williams has been kind of a fiery competitor over his younger years coming through this program in USF2000. Calm him back down and say, listen, lots of races to go. We saw yellows happen where guys went from the back to the front. Reese Gold fell back to P14 and then fought his way back up into the top 5 yesterday. Lots of opportunities still to come as we are going back to green flag racing. We'll keep an eye on Miller from P12 rather, and that red number 40. We know he has the pace. Here we come on the restart again. Will it be clean? Big move to the outside for Reese Gold. He's going to try to take the lead into turn number 1, and here comes Kaminsky making it 3 wide. Colin Kaminsky to the top of the racetrack. Trying to go around the outside, a little bit of a lockup. Kaminsky's going to go to 2nd. New leader, though, in Reese Gold, but I like that move for Kaminsky going all the way around the outside.
Not only did he lock him up, he kept that car under control. That dive bob move into turn number 1 gets him around Siegel, but Colin Kaminsky taking advantage of it as well. That'll move Kaminsky up to that 2nd position, but now Reese Gold able to check out a couple of car links.
That was a veteran move for Kaminsky with Siegel down to the bottom, Gold kind of keeping him pinched down. He was able to go around the outside. Siegel had to check up a lot earlier to be able to get through that corner, and that's what allowed Kaminsky to go around all the way around the outside. So Gold now the leader, Kaminsky into 2nd. It's Nolan Siegel running in 3rd. Kiko Porto in the Road to Indy scholarship car, last year's USF2000 champion in 4th, and Louis Foster kind of hanging out there a little bit, I think, in P5, taking a breather, letting anything happen in front of him.
20 laps to go in this race, and that's the 2nd time I've seen Reese Gold lock him up. He locked him up big time going into turn number 7. The key, you've got to make these tires last the entire race.
Well, that's a fantastic point, and you remember that we have a tire strategy as well. We have 4 sets of tires through practice, qualifying, and 3 races. Some drivers could be on a U set right now, saving a sticker set for race number 3 later on this morning. But you said it, this track is pretty rough. They've done some texturizing on the racetrack for the 500, and that's beaten our tires up a little bit, especially into that high commitment hardcore turn number 1 where they're diving hard in there. So the left front rather is taking a beating as one driver taking the cutoff further back. So again, this is a tough racetrack, and if you lock a tire up and flat spot that tire, Michael, we know it. It just wants to keep grabbing, and the more you flat spot it, the easier it is to do that.
Certainly is, and I just saw Jack William Miller move up 2 positions. Think with that car that went into the runoff might have picked up another position as well. So Jack William Miller, our pole sitter, potentially up to that 9th position as we see battles further back down into turn number 7.
Yeah, that's Jonathan Brown, Josh Green, and you said Miller right in there as well. Look at Miller. He's been able to get at least another spot. He's, I believe, now onto the gearbox of Josh Green. So, yeah, Jack William Miller, that's a great hot rod. He's been working with John Hayes and Louis Foster with that new technical alliance with Exclusive Autosport. It has moved him up the order. Did not have good qualifying runs or fantastic pace at Barber Motorsports Park. This new alliance has given him, number one, a second stream of data to look at. They're overlaying what Louis is doing, what he's doing, allowing him to improve his driving, but also Exclusive, of course, with a fantastic engineering team, has allowed him to find some more pace.
Well, for Reese Gold, about a 4-car length advantage over Colin Kaminsky, then Siegel, Porto, and Louis Foster, your top 5. Jack William Miller moves up to that 8th position, so slowly working his way back. Again, don't count him out yet, as he's been able to pick up a couple of spots since the restart.
Big lock up there. One driver coming through. That, I believe, was one of the Turn 3 Motorsports cars. So either Josh Green or Jonathan Brown locking up. That was the number 3, I believe, of Josh Green. So he locks up coming from P10, trying to make a move to the inside of Yuvan Sundaramurthy. So indeed, confirmed Josh Green locking it up and having to take the cutoff, having missed the turn into turn number 1.
And Braden Eves was right there and nearly clipped him. So had he not taken that runoff, that might have been big contact.
There's some more battling further back there. The fight again between, I believe, Jonathan Brown and Jack William Miller. And here's your leaders coming through. You can see how close they are, nose to tail. And listen, Miller's not that far back. Really, he was less than 4.5 seconds back, and you can make up that time. There still could be another yellow flag, but Jack William Miller has went from 12th to 8th in the span of 2 laps. He's on the move right now.
And he's starting to close in on that rear wing of Jonathan Brown as they make their way through turn number 13. Now turn number 14. We'll keep our eye on Jack William Miller, the pole sitter. He is in that bright red car and is about 2 car lengths out of being in that battle for that 7th position. Here comes the field down the front straightaway.
So insight coming right now from race control. Contact, as we know, between Louis Foster and Jack William Miller in turn 7 on the start. I believe it's going to be a drive-through penalty for the number 90 of Louis Foster, being told if he does not come into pit lane, he is going to get the black flag. So it'll be a drive-through for Foster. And for him, get in quickly, get back out as fast as you can, and then hope for the yellow flag to put you back on the tail. Not surprising. We saw this yesterday. And again, it was Foster that was on the losing end. When Jonathan Brown got into him, they gave Brown the drive-through. This time, Foster over-aggressive on his teammate Miller in turn number 7. He's the one that will pay the price this time.
It's hard to argue a penalty when you have tire smoke coming from your car and you make contact with somebody else. We saw it yesterday with Matt Brabham. He was penalized for doing the exact same thing. Tire smoke and contact, it usually doesn't end well for the person that makes the contact.
Well, I'll say this right now. We kind of called it. We saw it. And I did say that, we have only one angle of being able to see what happened. We weren't sure exactly how far Louis was in on Jack William Miller. Well, those of you around the racetrack and watching here on Road to Indy TV, race control has about 30 cameras to look at. They see every angle and they know exactly what happens, can do all the replays. So indeed, the drive-through now for Louis Foster. He'll be hoping for a yellow flag to happen to be able to get back up to the tail of the field. Otherwise, we're going to see Louis Foster fall back, I believe, to the 14th position right now. He'll have to do what he can to see if he can't catch back up to Charles Finale. But Foster came in second place in points, only 6 markers behind Nolan Siegel. So it's been an up and down season for Louis Foster. I'll tell you, he had 4 straight top 5 finishes in this down here, 2 races in a row where he's going to finish outside the top 10, barring any yellow flag here right now.
And Salvador de Alba now in that 5th position. So talk about moves, moving up from that 14th position, now running P5 after Foster serves that penalty.
On more insight from race control, being told that Josh Green needs to give up his position to Wyatt Prokachik. I would say very likely that pass potentially happening in the switchback of turns 5 and 6. He may have not been able to get around through the corner because that's a very aggressive curb there. Went to the right side of the curb instead of the left side. I'm going to have to give that pass back. So Green still battling Prokachik. That's for 10th.
And now Jack William Miller, his next driver that he has his sights on is Salvador de Alba. Miller able to get around Brown for that, what was the 7th position, now 6th position after Louis Foster had to come in for that penalty. So Reese Gold leading this event, just now completing lap number 9 of 25, working lap number 10. Gold, Kaminsky, Siegel, Porto, and D'Alba, your top 5.
Fast lap of the race so far, Reese Gold. That comes with an extra bonus point. And again, Gold coming in 3rd place in the points right now, behind by just 11 points from Nolan Siegel, who runs 3rd. So things are pretty tight up front. Colin Kaminsky, another driver. We talked about Miles Rowe in USF2000. Colin doesn't have the full budget for the 2022 season right now. Starting off the season, trying to do the best he can. Rolling in here 8th place in points. Had a strong run yesterday, looking to try to get himself onto the podium again here today. That would be big for Kaminsky. Another podium finish here would be big points, and again, big for the momentum of potentially getting some backers to continue on through the season. The next event is at IRP, Indianapolis Raceway Park, the Carbonite Classic. He's been on the pole there before in Indy Pro 2000, so he wants to get there with some budget and try to go for a race win.
Great battle for that 7th position. Jonathan Brown and Yuven Sundamarudi as they make their way through the south end of the course. It was right there for a second, Sundamarudi was, but wasn't able to get on that rear wing of Brown. So we will see if that battle then forms up again as they make their way through turns number 12 and 13. Now making their way through turn number 14. We'll see if Yuven can get a good run coming down that front straightaway. And there you see that battle there.
Yuven Sundaramurthy on the attack, trying to find a way by Jonathan Brown. Will get the big toe down the straightaway. That is for 7th and 8th. Here's a shot as well for Nolan Siegel as he is working on Colin Kaminsky. And I know you don't think championship, but you got Nolan Siegel as the point leader right now, P3 position. The driver that he is challenging right now in the championship is going to finish outside the top 10, barring a yellow, because Louis Foster back in 14th position. Should we get a yellow, he'll be able to fight his way back up. But I'll tell you, Siegel's in a really good position right now. 3 years in USF2000, rookie this year in Indy Pro, a winner last year late in the season in USF, and he's already got 2 wins here in 2022.
We see Yuven Sundamarudi make his way around the outside. Brown will able to hold the position. Boy, near contact as they make their way through turn number 9. Now working their way through turn number 10. Again, that's the battle for that 7th position. Yuven Sundaramurthy trying his best to get around Brown.
Big move as well. Jack William Miller has got himself up into the 6th position. What an unbelievable run for Jack William Miller. He was all the way back, as we know, outside the top 10, scrapped his way back forward. Michael, he's up 8 spots since lap 5.
Once he got around Brown, he was able to check out. Now again, as we had talked about, trying to get around Salvador D'Alba, that will be the battle for 5th for our pole sitter, and he is almost there. Again, that battle for that 6th and 7th position. Check that 7th and 8th. Kind of broken off a little bit. I think Juven's kind of used up the tires that time by, so maybe trying to regroup, settle himself back in, and get another run. But Jack William Miller, hats off to him. Now trying to get around Salvador D'Alba, that again for that 5th position, and he is there.
You know, if I was on the radio with Jack William, I would have got him calm down during the yellow flag. This happened. Now let's go put on a show. We're the people. We're the driver that everyone's watching. They're keying on this red number 40. Let's go put on a show. Let's make this the story. Let's make our run back to the field the story. Give him that focus, that target, and that's what he's doing right now. D'Alba's going to go to the bottom of the racetrack to try to defend, and around the outside goes Jack William Miller. Book it into turn number 8. Miller now into P5. Definitely a career drive for Jack William Miller. Been on the podium here before in USF2000, but this is what you want to see out of a young driver. Get challenged and step up.
Textbook pass as well. He went to the outside. D'Alba gave him room. Then Jack William Miller had the line as they went into that right-hander and was able to complete the pass. So great job by Jack William Miller. Move him up to that 5th position.
Check this out as well. Louis Foster just turned the fast lap of the race. He's trying to close back up on Charles Finelli to at least get one more spot and salvage some points. Second fastest lap is Jack William Miller in the number 40 machine. He just turned that as well. So good speed out of the exclusive Autosport cars. They've got the Tatis dialed in pretty nicely. About a lap ago, Jonathan Brown getting a warning for blocking on Yuven Sundaramurthy on the front straightaway. The gap had stretched a bit. Yuven trying to dial things back in. It's about 0.8 of a second between those two now. But Brown doing everything he could to try to salvage the weekend. Obviously an issue yesterday, the contact that he had with Foster. He wants a good result. He knows he has the speed. Time to get the best result of the year.
So for Reese Gold, he has a 7/10 of a second lead over Colin Kaminsky. Then Siegel, Porto, and Jack William Miller, they round out your top 5. We're working lap 13 of 25, so just hitting that halfway point here at the Indy Pro 2000 GP of Indianapolis, race number 2.
Let's bring Elliot Cox back in, our driver analyst, our USF Juniors racer for Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing in Indianapolis, a resident, just 14 years of age. Middle of the race here right now. Elliot, you've got a guy out in front of you there. They're giving you the gap. Is there anything you can do as a driver to step it up, to push over top of the car, or are you just trying to do whatever you can to maybe manage the tires?
Normally, during a race, you're not driving like qualifying pace. You're normally backed off a little bit just so you don't like risk going off track. You don't take the same risks as you would in qualifying. If you have a car in front of you to push there, you can push a little harder, go a little faster, but that'll use the tires up as well. Normally the Cooper tires hold on really well. They're a really great tire. But it just depends how far you're willing to push it and how much you're willing to wear the tires.
Yeah, you know what? If you're the guy that can take care of the tires, the tire deg does step up, Michael, that's when you can start closing on someone near the end of the race. If they're just hanging on and you're kind of taking care of your tires, you could set up for a battle later on in the run.
Yeah, it looks like a nice little pass there. I think Braden Eves may have got around Suna Maruthi. It was watching that battle as they made their way down into turn number 1. We'll check them out as they get down here to turn number 7, but a great point. And as we hit this halfway point, now we start watching the tire deg of Reese Gold. He locked him up, as we talked about early part of this race. He has a comfortable advantage, doesn't have to push, but can Colin Kaminsky start putting the pressure on, since he was pretty clean in this first half of the race, hasn't used those tires up potentially that much.
Interesting thing too, because we're running here in the morning, not quite as warm, only 71 degrees trackside right now, so that's playing a little bit of a role to a certain extent. The fact that the tires may have some longer duration, but we did have the IndyCar rubber down, the Indy Lights rubber as well yesterday, so the grip level is still pretty high throughout this weekend. Taking care of the tires is key, but as Michael had mentioned, that one lockup that we saw, if he gets pressured, he may lock up again. But right now, Reese Gold, a veteran driver in this program. So there's that little lockup again in turn number 1. He was all by himself. Veteran driver, as I said, but he's getting pressured by Colin Kaminsky right now. He is closing up a bit. Last time by, Kaminsky 0.2 of a second quicker.
Indeed, Braden Eves got around Juven Sundaramurthy, so that is the battle for that 8th position. Put Braden Eves up to the 8th position and Sundaramurthy down into the 9th position. As again, Rob had just mentioned, Reese Gold locking those tires up, and we're starting to see Colin Kaminsky close in, although that gap is still about 7/10. It looks like he's getting better runs as they get into the corners, and he's drive on the north end, the south end. In those corners, he's able to close that gap with Reese Gold, and as you said, potentially putting a little pressure on Reese Gold, and he doesn't need to lock those tires up anymore.
Yeah, I think that Colin can kind of just settle in here. Like they'll be looking at lap times every time he comes around, a 10th quicker. How's the car feel? You don't want to slide the car around. That's one of the big things as well. When the car is dialed in correctly and you're able to really take care of those tires, that's when you're going to get the extra duration. You're going to get the extra speed, the extra grip at the end of the race. If you're really struggling with a car and it's sliding, that means you're really punishing those tires. This time by, we'll look at lap times again. 122.9 for Gold, 123.3 for Kaminsky. Challenged and accepted. Great lap there for Reese Gold, 122.9. He stretches the lead to 1.1 seconds.
So a big lap, and there we see a battle going down into that turn 1 area.
I think
that is the battle, yes.
Eves and Brown.
Yep.
Looks like around the outside goes Braden Eves in the Jay Howard driver development car, and move Eves up into 7th. Great run around the outside at turn 1.
Second pass for Braden Eves in 2 laps. Got around Sundaramurthy, now got around Brown. So Braden Eves on the charge, the latter portion of this race. Eves now into that 7th position. So Gold, Kaminsky, Siegel, Porto, Jack William Miller, D'Alba, Eves, Brown, Sundaramurthy, and Green round out your top 10.
You know, Michael, we've been talking about the mental aspect of racing throughout the weekend and, you know, the different ups and downs. We saw drivers had some issues. You think about Braden Eves. 2 years ago here, the horrific incident over in turn number 10, upside down, neck injury, put him in the hospital, able to come back again in 2021 and go racing. Was able to get a victory here yesterday on the racetrack, but man, than the DQ yesterday in Tech.
But remind fans about the incident with Eves. It was a horrific incident. That young man went through a lot.
Indeed, coming out of turn number 10, something happened with the car. Thing rolled over, and he was up on top, sideways up through turn number 10 and 11. Tough incident, some skull fracture, neck injury, but was back at the racetrack a couple of days later with the team, with the full neck guard, and was on. Thankfully, he's a young kid, on the mend very quickly. Actually was back in a cart before the end of the year, and then came back in 2021 with Exclusive Autosport. But to come back here and get that emotional win yesterday, the putting all the past behind and getting that huge victory, the vindication of getting it done here, and then seeing it with a tech infraction, losing that, the mindset last night must have been gutting, and then to have to come back here today, starting deeper in the field and fight his way back forward now into the the 7th position. This is a good run for Braden Eves.
And it's a battle right now for that 7th position. Jonathan Brown, Braden Eves, and Braden Eves moves to the outside. Will he get around? We'll watch them come into our picture right now. Looks like he may have gotten around. We'll wait and hold there. There's the battle. There's 5th, 6th, 7th, and
no, I think maybe Brown's back into the position again. You think?
He was looking to the inside, and then we lost sight of that battle. So we'll see as they make their way down the front straightaway. But whatever it was, they were right next to each other, and now we see gaps between the cars as they make their way. There again, there's that battle as they make their way down into turn number 12 right now.
We'll pick that up once again. They come across the line. Reese Gold, 23.2, 123.2. Same for Colin Kaminsky. Siegel, a 123.2. 123.2 for Porto. Top 4 drivers, their lap times all within about 2 or 3 hundredths of a second. Here's the scrap here again. Eves on the outside. No, that's the 2 drivers from J. Howard Driver Development. That is, I believe, Eves and Brakacic now.
So Eves was trying to get around Brown. Something happened at the south end of the track in turn number 7 because Eves lost 2 positions in that last lap.
Indeed, that's exactly what happened. Eves has moved by. Brakacic is actually able to get by him. So Brakacic goes to 9th. Eves back into 10th. That is no longer a battle with Eves and Brown. He is dropping down the field. There's an issue here with Braden Eves, who comes in 5th place in points. And even off the issue from yesterday, having moved to 7th, he now finds himself falling back through the order. And I think interesting as well is Jack William Miller, a little bit quicker than Kiko Porto. He's only 7/10 of a second back, 8 laps to go. I think the potential of Jack William Miller could fight for P4 before it's all said and done. As soon as he gets into the draft range, he's going to get that big toe on both straightaways.
Just to put a period on Braden Eves, he was trying to get around Jonathan Brown, went to the outside at the entrance of turn number 7, and then Sundar Maruthi gets around. So my thought is he either went off, something happened, and he lost a couple of positions.
Reese Gold back across the line. 1.2 seconds was the margin last time by. As they come back through again, count at 1.1, so a little bit of an advantage there for Kaminsky closing up. But this is the fight we're talking about here for P4. That's Kiko Porto on the right side of the screen. And he's in the Road to Indy Scholarship car. Look at Jack William Miller, a beast on the brakes into turn number 1. He's closed it down to 2 or 3 car lengths. Could be a P4 battle here momentarily as Jack William Miller, who was looped around on the opening lap as the leader in turn number 7, now fighting his way back to potentially scrap for P4.
7 laps to go in this second race, Indy Pro 2000 GP of Indianapolis. Reese Gold in the lead, about a second and a 10th, I believe. Yeah, second and a 10th for Reese Gold over Colin Kaminsky. Then Siegel, the battle that we're watching. Kiko Porto and Jack William Miller. That's the battle for 4th. That will come into your picture right now. So there you see the yellow and red car of Kiko Porto, and then Jack William Miller in that red car. That battle is for 4th again.
Laps winding down, 7 remaining here for the Indy Pro 2000 category. This event brought to you by the IndyCar Ministry. Always fantastic to have Chuck Lessick and Jason Holt of the IndyCar Ministry in the paddock of the Road to Indy. Pleased to have them as part of our family. Up front, Gold leading the way, trying to get another win here. Reese Gold comes in 3rd place in the points, scored a victory at Barber Motorsports Park, looking for his 2nd of the season, try to close up on Nolan Siegel, who still runs P3. It's going to be an exciting championship adjustment as we still have one more race to go this weekend before heading to the Carb Night Classic and the Freedom 90 on the oval for the drivers here in Indy Pro. 2 ovals, obviously, Michael, as you know, for the drivers in Indy Pro. IRP, and then later in the year, Worldwide Technology Raceway. That is a fast racetrack for Indy Pro 2000 drivers.
That's a big weekend for these guys. Not only to get out to Indianapolis Raceway Park, but then out into St. Louis, the old Gateway course. To run ovals, that's part of this whole Road to Indy program. Obviously, a majority of these races happen on the road and street courses, but to get on those ovals, that gives them a little taste of what they will see as they grow as drivers and potentially get to the NTT IndyCar Series.
That's our goal, right? We are developing drivers to get to IndyCar. We want to give them every opportunity to learn as much as they possibly can, and ovals are obviously a huge part of IndyCar's DNA, so our concept is to do what we can to give these drivers as much experience on ovals as well. And this is Anam Ahmed back into pit lane. We talked about Anam having some issues. Back into pit lane again. They had to replace that rear wing, and they brought him back down. He's running P15. Jordan Missing, as we said, out on the opening circuit. 14 drivers remain on the racetrack. Louis Foster was able to get by Charles Finelli, so he's moved his way back up to 13th position now, and that's pretty much where he is. 5 laps to go. That yellow flag that Foster was hoping for to get himself back in the hunt, not happening as of yet. 5 laps remaining. Gold, his lead now just down to 1 second. And here we have a pass for into turn number 1, a scrap further back, and the driver's gone up. That was Sundar Murthy in on Jonathan Brown. So Sundar Murthy made a move to the inside of Brown for 7th in turn number 1. Brown having to take the escape route, and he comes back onto the racetrack having lost at least 1 spot.
So we have 5 laps remaining in this second race. Reese Gold has a 1 second advantage over Colin Kaminsky. Then Siegel, Porto, and Jack William Miller rounding out your top 5. Villalba, Brown, and Sundar Murthy. Now Sundar Murthy will move to that second position. Brkacik will actually move up another spot as well, and will move Brown down to that 9th position. Braden Eves round out your top 10.
Let's take opportunity again. We talked a lot about it yesterday. Lindsey Brewer, 25 years of age, Instagram influencer, 1.7 million followers on Instagram, but she has been a racer all her life, karting back in Colorado, has had this dream about getting into an open wheel formula car, the Indy 500, like so many racers. She's able to put together some funding, some sponsorship from Mastermind, comes out here to Indy Pro 2000, a lot of questions. Will she be fast enough? Is she going to be able to handle this race car? Will she make the 104 because she doesn't have a lot of experience? Her last lap time, a 123.3. She was faster than Colin Kaminsky, faster than Kiko Porto. She has the speed for sure. Lindsey Brewer absolutely erasing any doubt of her speed. Yeah, 123.4 last time by. She was faster than Kaminsky, Siegel, Porto, Jack William Miller. She was one of the fastest drivers on the racetrack on that last lap, and this is late in the run.
And this track will wear you out, especially running as much as we're running this race weekend. We'll have another race coming up just afternoon today for these Indy Pro 2000 drivers. This is physical for anybody, so she's doing a fantastic job.
In talking to Lindsay, obviously, she's not, if you've seen her, she's not huge. She's been working out like crazy, and now having driven the track, she said to me, well, I'm obviously elevating what I do and altering it. She's going to be at Pit Fit, obviously with Jim Leo and the gang there, really focused a fitness regime, so she knows that she's got to dial things back up. But bottom line for Lindsey Brewer, the speed that she has shown here, you know that she now belongs here in Indy Pro 2000. I have been unbelievably impressed with what she's been able to do.
Yeah, Kiko Porto just going off track at the exit of turn number 11, put those left sides out, saw a little dust kicked up, but no harm, no foul for Kiko Porto, still running in that 4th position. So now down to 3 to go. Reese Gold will cross the start-finish line in that yard of bricks. Colin Kaminsky now 1 second and a half, nearly 1.4 seconds the lead for Reese Gold. So any question about tire deg we'll put to rest right now with only 3 laps to go. He's doing a fantastic job holding off Colin Kaminsky.
Yeah, lap number 21, he was able to stretch away. He was about 2 to 3 tenths of a second, but on lap 21, Gold was the fastest. The second fastest lap on lap 21 was Lindsey Brewer, down to a 1:23.40. A couple drivers getting back down to 2s, but on that last lap, Gold was able to stretch away by almost 3 tenths of a second. This is what you want, right? Pad that lead, last couple of laps, and then you can kind of take care of things. A couple of tidy laps, he'll come away with his 2nd win of the season.
Quickest car out on track right now is our leader, Reese Gold, as we have 3 to go. Again, Gold, Kaminsky, Siegel, Porto, and Miller, your top 5. Villalba, Sundar Murthy, Brkacik, Brown, Eves round out your top 10.
Great run for Reese Gold as he came in 3rd place in the points, back by just about 11 to Nolan Siegel. This is going to be super tight on top. as the points are going to rack up for Reese Gold here. Does not have the fast lap of the race, but he will get the bonus point for leading the most laps of the race. That's 1 point as well. 30 points for the victory. So this championship only tightening up here in race number 2, and still another race to come this morning before we wrap things up for the triple header here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We go oval racing after this, but as Michael had said, laps are winding down. Lap number 23 in the books of a scheduled 25. 2 laps to go, and we got ourselves a potential challenge coming down here into the braking zone. That's a little deeper in the field. They're going 2 wide. I want to say that is going to be Sundar Murthy and Prakacic, I think, going at it at this point. That's for 7th position. This has been a good run for Wyatt Prakacic, working his way back forward. I think he got the spot. Prakacic, yeah, up into 7th. Great run for Wyatt Prakacic.
Got around Juven Sundar Murthy, now able to check himself out by about 2 car lengths. Really got a nice run coming down that front straightaway, and as you said, to be able to make that move to the inside of 1 and still be able to keep that car under control, keep that momentum working forward by the time you hit the switchback of 5 and 6, able to check himself out a couple of car lengths.
Yeah, nicely done for Prakacic. So it's Jay Howard Driver Development cars sitting in 6th and 7th right now. Eves back into 10th position. We're not sure what happened to Braden here. He had worked his way all the way up into 7th with a good pass on Jonathan Brown, but then fell down the order. Nonetheless, Salvador de Alba, yesterday's winner, now in the 6th spot. That's going to help him move up the order in the points for sure. Salvador de Alba with the victory into 9th, and this top 6 position will help solidify where he is within the top 10. White flag flying though for Reese Gold. I'm not sure that he'll take the lead with this particular performance, but it will be incredibly close as we watch them work their way into turn number 1. Reese Gold in the Ticket Clinic Juncos Hollinger Racing Machine, looking for the 2nd race win of the season.
Well, I like to hear you say that about 10 times fast. That was a mouthful right there. But it's been a fantastic run for Reese Gold after the chaos that ensued the early portion of this race. Once he was able to get the lead, did some great driving, able to check out from Colin Kaminsky. His biggest lead thus far, that 1.6 second gap that he has right now. Siegel doing a good job. Kiko Porto just driving his race in 4th most of the event, at least the second half. And for Jack William Miller, a good save to fall back after contact and coming off on the pole, and he will end up finishing 5th, bar anything happening here in these last couple of corners.
Indeed, I think it's a fantastic run for Jack William Miller. Reese Gold's been good for sure. Yesterday was able to work his way up into the 5th spot on the racetrack, 4th after the technical DQ. Same goes for Colin Kaminsky. He was 4th on track, 3rd after the results adjustment. It'll be a good 2nd place finish for Kaminsky, but coming out of the final corner to move within 2 points of the championship lead, the Florida driver Reese Gold will put win number 2 in the books as he is victorious here, crossing the yard of bricks at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Reese Gold winning race number 2 of the Indy Pro 2000 triple header here at IMS. A big win for the Juncos Hollinger Racing crew, and there's Ricardo Juncos right there. A busy and exciting weekend. Speedway, Indiana, the home of this team, Juncos Hollinger, within what, a mile? Not even a mile from where we stand here right now. And Callum Ilott looking great as well in the IndyCar program for Juncos Hollinger, and there are countless wins for Juncos Hollinger and championships here in the Indy Pro 2000 category. Gold's victory, 1.4 seconds. Colin Kaminsky coming home in the 2nd spot, his first podium finish of the year. Great run for Kaminsky. Nolan Siegel, I believe, will unofficially hold on to the point lead with a 3rd place finish. Kiko Porto in 4th, and Jack William Miller after the incident in turn number 7, scrapping his way back. A very strong run, P5.
Not a bad finish to what could have been a chaotic race, and once they got the flow going, we had a good finish. And again, congratulations to Reese Gold, winner of race number 2. They still have another race coming up later on this afternoon. Elliot Cox with the yawn. I understand it's a long day. This is very early for you. But
he's 14.
He is 14. He'll need 3 naps before. You're not normally up till about 4 in the afternoon. So for you, it's good.
That's a little far.
Come on.
I should go to school, man.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Hey, appreciate you having us with us. Great to have Elliot here. Follow Elliot on social media if you haven't done that. Elliot Cox runs for Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing in the USF Juniors program. A great young driver out of Indianapolis you need to follow because he will be here one day running in the Indianapolis 500. And we can say that we worked with him in the booth when he was just 14 years of age.
You just remember us, young man. That's all I'm going to say.
I can always say I worked with Rob Howden.
There you go.
There you go.
And that other guy out there.
Michael Young, my
There you
friend.
go. Great,
All right.
Great. Nice job, Elliot Cox, Rob Howden. We will see you on Victory Podium momentarily. We will celebrate Siegel, Kaminsky, and Reese Gold, the winner of race.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduro Maxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper.
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
It's your Uncle Cooper. If you and your truck are constantly tackling the regular duties of the day, go with a tire that can handle them all. Oh, man. I stepped in it. Go with the Coopers.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
It's your Uncle Cooper.
Third spot today, and the point leader now by just 2 markers for D-Force Racing. P3 goes to Nolan Siegel. Here comes Nolan, hop on top, and to present him with his trophy, Camilla Abel Schroeder. Thank you so much, Camilla. P3 for Nolan Siegel, your current point leader with 1 more race still to go here in the Indy Pro 2000 category. Nolan with a couple of wins on the season, back on the podium here today. Strong run for this driver, coming home in the 2nd position, finishing P2 for Pabst Racing, Colin Kaminsky. And to present Colin with his 2nd place finish, our guest for the weekend, Ellie K. Pfizer. Thank you, Ellie. You can hop right up there with him. There you go. 2nd spot for Colin Kaminsky. Strong run here today. They have shown good pace for Pabst Racing throughout the season here. Now we'll move to the final position on the podium. Tremendous run for this driver. Already a win at Barber Motorsports Park, but got out front today and was able to get the job done. Winning today for Juncos Hollinger Racing. Put your hands together for Reese Gold. Well, Reese, obviously important for you. A win at Barber Motorsport Park was crucial, but to win here at Indianapolis, where you've done before, this is a track that you like.
Yeah, I got my first win here, so awesome to do it again. You know, this is one of the most amazing places to win at, so just a great race. You know, great job, Nolan, Colin, clean at the restart. Colin kept the pressure on the whole race, made it hard for me, so it felt long, but it was a good, clean race.
Coming towards the middle half of the season, winning here at Indianapolis is always crucial. You get those points you need moving into the summer months. How crucial was it for you think, to get this 2nd victory after the first one at Barber?
Yeah, this is big. You know, some of the points contenders finished somewhere in the back, I don't know, but just great points. You know, this is a big points weekend, 3 races, so happy to get a win, and hopefully we can do it again in a couple hours.
Big for Juncos Hollinger Racing as well. Their shop is right over in Speedway, Indiana. This is the home racetrack, so you win one here for Ricardo and Mr. Hollinger.
Yep, awesome to get them a win. Our shop's right there. Hopefully they can do the same in IndyCar with Callum, and also thank you to the Ticket Clinic for sponsoring me and everyone else at Juncos Racing.
Congratulations, man. Get up on the podium. Fantastic drive, as we said, for Reese Gold, and let's bring that P1 trophy in. Matthew Strite will present our 1st place trophy for Reese Gold, his 2nd P1 trophy of the year for Juncos Hollinger Racing, and he closes to within 2 points of Nolan Siegel in this championship. And remember, scholarship up for grabs to send our Indy Pro 2000 champion up into the Indy Lights program for 2023. And as I said, these drivers at Indy Pro just 2 steps away from the NTT IndyCar Series. This is where we saw the Renus VKs and the Pato Awards work on their craft before finding their way into IndyCar. 3 talented drivers on the podium today. Reese Gold with the victory. And again, Colin Kaminsky for Pabst Racing in 2nd and Nolan Siegel in 3rd. 2 more races still to come to cap off the Road to Indy component of this weekend's event, as we have race number 3 for both of the categories before the noon hour here today. We'll have those drivers back out, so not much time to rest. They will debrief with their engineers, see if they can't make their cars just a little bit better for race number 3 in both USF2000 and Indy Pro. I'll be back in the booth with Michael Young and Greg Rakestraw for those calls of those events. And of course, the NTT IndyCar Series main event still to come here today on a beautiful Saturday here in Indianapolis, Indiana. And again, wrapping things up here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Victory Podium. Some great guests joining us here today. One of the greatest podiums in motorsports in the racing capital of the world. And again, always a pleasure to be able to be part of this action here with this Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires, the opportunity to train these young drivers to move into the NTT IndyCar Series. We are so proud of how many drivers that will be in the IndyCar race today who have come through the development program that is the Road to Indy. Champagne, of course, now being delivered out to the drivers here on the podium. As I said, one more race still to come for these guys, so I don't think anybody's going to be getting wet with this one. You got to keep those suits clean. A little celebratory clink. And there goes the spray. Celebration once again. Big win for Reese Gold. Colin Kaminsky, a strong second place finish and a solid run for the point leader, Nolan Siegel, in Indy Pro 2000.
Rob, thank you very much. We'll check in with you again throughout the day as both the USF2000 and Indy Pro 2000 drivers will be on one more time for races coming up in the next couple of hours.